and welcome to our channel. Today is November 11th, which is Veterans Day. So right up front, we want to take a moment and say that if you are currently serving our country or you have served in the past, thank you. We really appreciate your service and God bless you.
We've had several family members in the military, my grandfather, an aunt, and an uncle, so we know well all the dedication and sacrifice that goes into a military career.
And while our family members may or may not be actual saints, there have been many Catholic warriors down through the ages who are saints or who are on their way to becoming one.
And some of our favorites are St. Michael the Archangel, of course, St. Camillus de Lellis, St. Ignatius of Loyola, St. Joan of Arc, and one of our favorites, whose feast day it happens to be today, St. Martin of Tours.
So we have St. Martin here today with us in spirit, but today we want to introduce you to two Catholic veterans you might not know. They are well on their way to sainthood, and they are great examples of courage and loyalty and dignity for all of us. So we can't wait for you to meet them.
First today is Servant of God, Father Vincent Capodanno. And Servant of God means that he's not officially a saint yet, but he's on his way. He was a Maryknoll missionary, and then he later served as a military chaplain during the Vietnam War.
So Father Capodanno was famous for his bravery and the way he took care of his men both on and off the field. Now, he wasn't required to jump into helicopters or go into battle with his Marines, but he frequently did.
His nickname was the Grunt Padre, and he would travel around with his men, frequently celebrating Mass on the front of his Jeep for them. And he died when he was just 38 years old on a battlefield in Vietnam. He was shot 27 times that day in the back and arm, and even though he was severely wounded, he kept ministering to his men until he literally took his last breath.
So Father Capodanno was a true hero, and he is a great example for us of what it means to put others before ourselves and to literally lay down our lives for our friends. His whole mission was to show the love of Jesus to all of his soldiers, whether or not they were Catholic, and he's continuing that mission to this day in heaven.
Back in 2017, a woman who was very devoted to Father Capodanno was miraculously healed of her multiple sclerosis after praying for his intercession. And she had suffered from it for years, but her brain scan in 2017 showed that the lesions had completely healed. After much investigation, the healing was declared miraculous and attributed to Father Capodanno's intercession.
So that was his first miracle, and he only needs two to become an official saint. Unfortunately, COVID has really slowed down that whole canonization process because the offices were closed for so long, but hopefully soon he'll be Saint Vincent Capodanno. So if you want to learn more about him, Chris Stefanik at Real Life Catholic made a really great video about his life, and we'll link that down below for you in the description box.
And there's also this book, Grunt Padre, Father Vincent Robert Capodanno, Vietnam, 1966 to 1967. And it was just published in 2020 and has great reviews on Amazon.
So next we want to introduce you to another military chaplain, and that is Fr. Emil Kapaun. So he started out as a diocesan priest for Wichita, Kansas, and then found his true calling to serve in the military and went on to serve in World War II and in Korea. But there's so much more to Father Kapaun than just those basic facts.
In 1950, Father Kapaun served with the 1st Cavalry Division in Korea, and all the soldiers knew that he would risk his life for any of them, no matter who they were or where they came from. And he would often drop into their foxholes and bring them food and words of comfort, and he would offer to pray with them.
During the Battle of Ansan, Father Kapaun rescued 30 men and then comforted those who were dying. When his unit was evacuated and he had the chance to leave, he elected to stay with the wounded men, and then they were captured and forced to march 60 miles through the frozen winter landscape in the mountains to a prisoner of war camp. On the way, Father Kapaun personally carried a wounded soldier 60 miles, and he also encouraged the other men to pick up and help those who were straggling.
And during the 7 months that he was in the prisoner of war camp, Father Capoun was a rallying force for the men. He would steal them food, he would pray with them, he would comfort them, and give them hope in living conditions that were nothing short of horrid. And through it all, he kept his sense of humor, even asking his fellow prisoners to pray for him to St. Dismas so he could become a better thief and steal them more food.
Many of Father Capoun's men said they only survived that POW camp because of his encouragement. When he got sick and was taken away to a death house to be left to die, a lot of the men volunteered to take his place, but Father Capoun said no. He said, ultimately, I'm just going to the place that I've always wanted to go, and when I get there, I will definitely pray for you.
Father Capoun died in that death house, but many of his men lived on to tell his story. He gave no thought to his own comfort and safety and is truly an example of heroic virtue.
So, like Father Capodanno, Father Capoun has also been very busy in heaven. In 2008, a pole vaulter named Kier was vaulting 14 feet high in the air, but when he came down on the other side, he missed the mat, and he cracked his skull open from ear to ear and broke his back, so he was not expected to live. His family and friends prayed for the intercession of Father Capoun, and Chase recovered. In fact, he was only in the hospital for 6 weeks. He is truly a miracle man.
And in 1993, John Paul II declared Father Capoun a servant of God, and Chase's miracle, if approved, may very well become one of the 2 miracles he needs to become a saint.
So I first met Father Capoun on the Catholic media website called Formed. I saw a Bible study there called Capoun's Men, and I thought, well, maybe this will be good for some of the teenage boys that I teach. So I watched the whole series, and I quickly decided that Father Capoun is good for all of us. And my only question now is, how has this man not been declared a saint already?
And in another amazing addition to his story, a U.S. forensics team was able to identify Father Capoun's remains. He died in Korea in 1951, but in September of 2021, he was finally able to come home to Kansas and rest in peace. And we'll link an article down below that has all the details.
That is truly an amazing story. So if you're interested in reading a biography about Father Capoun, there is this one published in 2015, The Miracle of Father Capoun. There's also another book that we've read here from 2020 called The Saint Makers. So we'll link all that down below for you.
So rest in peace, Father Capoun, Father Capodanno, and all the veterans who have served our country.
Thank you so much for watching, and God bless. Bye.